doctor would remove the hardened clump of hair directly from the animal. And if you were poisoned, they'd have you swallow it. These hairball stones were believed to have magical properties back in the Middle Ages, which obviously wasn't true. But they were covered in holes, and allegedly, they'd sometimes actually absorb the toxins in the stomach, preventing the poison from reaching the bloodstream. If you were pulled down to the depth of the Titanic, most people think that your eyeballs would pop out of your head and burst from the pressure. But your eyes are actually made up of mostly water, and water is incompressible, meaning they wouldn't burst. But any part of your body that is filled with air, like your chest and sinuses, would be crushed, causing severe damage and deformity. This tooth has a worm crawling around inside of it. Now, it's obviously not real, but this is actually what people thought caused toothaches back in ancient times. Gargling with donkey's milk was a weird remedy for this fake toothworm. They'd also try to cast it out with magic spells. Sometimes they'd cover the affected tooth in honey, and if that didn't work, they would try spitting into a frog's mouth to make it go away. When you insert your credit card into a payment machine, it immediately creates a one-time code. Now, this code is specifically designed for that single transaction, and it can't be used again. Now, if you swiped your card instead, the transferred information can be easily copied, making it accessible to thieves. But even if someone was able to copy the info from the chip, the code only works once, making the stolen data useless. This tooth has a tiny little compartment hidden inside of it. They were used during the Cold War, and most people believed that spies kept cyanide pills inside of them as a lethal escape plan if they got caught. But in reality, these compartments weren't very popular, and if spies did have one, it was most commonly used to discreetly carry secret messages, not deadly pills. If you plucked out a single strand of your hair, it could hold about 40 pennies without breaking. But if you braid just half of all your hair into a rope, the combined strength could hold up a large SUV. And if you add in all of your hair into the rope, it could withstand about 15 metric tons, which is about the weight of a young gray whale. If you have frequent nosebleeds, there's a crazy chance that you could have a tooth growing in your nose. This incredibly rare condition begins in the womb when a developing tooth bud migrates to the nose. And years later, once the tooth has developed, you might begin to experience chronic irritation in your nostril. To remove it, a doctor will insert surgical instruments through your nostril and carefully extract the tooth. If you looked inside a water tower, you would see a giant storage container filled to the brim with water. This container is connected to pipes that deliver water using gravity to maintain pressure. As the water level decreases, sensors trigger pumps to refill the tower from other sources. This ensures that the water is at the same constant pressure, allowing it to flow down into the pipes. If the bar came loose while you were riding a roller coaster, you'd probably expect to immediately fall out. But that probably wouldn't happen. You see, as you're being pulled into the loop, gravity tries to pull you down towards the ground. But because of the speed you're going and the direction of the tracks, a special force actually pushes you further down, outweighing the pull of gravity and keeping you in your seat. If an octopus loses some of its limbs and then somehow makes it back into the ocean, you might think it would die from the open wounds. But they have an ability that allows them to quickly seal the cut before it becomes infected. Once the wounds begin to heal, new cells can start to reconstruct the missing limbs. And after several weeks, new, fully functional tentacles regrow.